The purpose of today was to show you that the joint operations of all law enforcement and fire services in terms of this safety and the issue of this product. And so when it comes to the investigation side, we're working jointly with many other agencies on a daily basis from the safety perspective as well as the mitigation. In the chemicals that are involved in the fires that result in fires or explosions, our safety, and we just want to make sure that the public is aware of these concerns. Yeah, the portion of the explosive demonstration and the educational part is to let law enforcement and to include drug task forces know that the dangers not only of the product itself but the manufacturing of the product. And so ATF becomes involved when there's either a fire or an explosion as a result of these labs that occur. Yeah, many of the narcotics labs use the same precursors, and the same precursors are also used in a homemade explosive lab. And so the potential for fire or an explosion will be in the manufacturing process, and then that's the concern for the safety of not only officers but also the general public. First shot was illustrating more of the fire aspects when it comes to these labs. And the labs could be either a homemade explosive lab or any type of narcotics labs to include the butane hash or the meth process. So many of these labs will either catch on fire or cause an explosion as a result of the manufacturing process.
3, 2, 1. On the first one, the powder burn, we went from a smokeless powder to a black powder, and that was just a powder burn. But if you confine that powder into a container such as a pipe or a steel canister or something like that, it's going to confine that expansion, and once that expansion reaches the threshold of the limits of that pipe, that's when you get the explosion. Good. 3, 2, 1. There's a chemical reaction, and it could either it's going to create pressure, or it's going to change from a solid to a gas very rapidly. And once it does that, it goes outward at so many feet per second, and it creates an explosion. That's what happens. It transfers from a solid to a gas in milliseconds.
This is where the joint operations of many agencies come into effect. We work along with many other law enforcement and fire agencies to make that determination of what type of explosion occurred or fire, and was it due to a lab of narcotics or homemade explosives.
We work in an assistant capacity with other divisions, Metro Narcotics, ATF, stuff like that. If they come across something that's explosive, they don't know how to handle it or can't handle it, then they generally call us in, and we generally handle all the explosive stuff, whether it's products like C4 or other chemical that people put together.
Well, obviously, you know, you call in the experts. The explosive gentlemen you see today, we have our special operations unit. Jackson has one, and you have to reach out to the experts. This is nothing to be taken lightly. But as you get to see for yourself today, the impact of a small amount of this, it can't be tolerated. It's not should you report someone doing this, it's your duty to report it. I would hate to see a child or innocent victim come across these type things. And unfortunately, the people that make it don't attend them all the time. It may be something as simple as a empty or a pop bottle in a vehicle, and it can have the meth lab in it. And it's so dangerous, it can't be tolerated. As a society, we can't tolerate this. You're doing the right thing by reporting. If you know or suspect someone doing this, call your local agency, call whoever, call 911. If you suspect it's a meth lab, that's important enough to call 911. Let the authorities know. Because on a large scale, this could be very, very dangerous.